morning, team. I have some really exciting news. Leadership has been doing a lot of listening, and we heard you. So starting next month, we are launching the Be Well at Work initiative.
Oh, wow. So what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so first, we're getting a Calm app subscription for every single employee, premium. And we are dedicating the last 5 minutes of every Friday stand-up to a gratitude share.
Amber, I've been waiting 8 months for my accommodation request to be reviewed.
I know. And HR is aware of that backlog. That is actually on the roadmap for Q3.
Okay, but I took a mental health day in February, and then my manager asked me if I was still committed to the team.
Yes, that is a conversation worth having with your direct supervisor for sure. But that is actually why we're also doing a manager training on empathy. Lunch and learn, there will be a recording. Oh, and we're also getting a meditation room. It's going to be the old supply closet on the second floor. We're putting a plant in there.
A plant?
One big one.
Welcome back to Sanity Pending Podcast. I'm Holly, and this is Amber. And today we are talking about wellness at work, Amber, and how for some people, these programs don't feel supportive at all. Instead, it feels more like a performance that we're supposed to watch and applaud, but not actually participate in. Mm-hmm. And Amber, I like when we were preparing for this episode, you called it like wellness theater. And I love that because that's how it feels when you see these, benefits, but, layer that on top of, all of these unmanageable workloads that we all have. And it just makes those things feel completely unusable, and maybe that's the point. I don't know. You care about our burnout, but you don't care enough to change what's burning us out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I know. It's definitely the very cynical approach to take, that it's very intentional, that they like they're in one hand, they're distracting you to keep you from this other thing, right? And there, it's like a sleight of hand, right? We know the thing that we need to work on, but it's so hard. So then we're just going to throw this really kind of fun, flashy bandaid on it. And so that, to think of it just in that term, right, absolutely can make it look like it's kind of a gross negligence of what's really happening. But I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe in the cynical part of it. I do think that organizations care about their people. I want to believe that, whether they do or not, right? So just please know I am rooting myself in that I don't want to go down the cynical path. And
I love that about you.
That people care. And so I do think that it is it may be so hard to work on those larger cultural things that this is their way of doing something in the meantime. And so, yes, it does look and feel like a Band-Aid in the moment, but it may be all that they can do while they are trying to, because it's not the number one thing that could be on that business plate, to be honest, right? And though they might get the greatest yield from working on their people in the larger picture, a lot of things that, at least in my experience, it's always the stuff that's the immediate fire that has to be taken care of, not the larger, bigger direction that's going to help more people in the long run. It's usually the quick wins.
Yeah. Well, and your mention of yield really makes me think, and again, I may be coming across a little negative here, but it does feel like these these programs aren't really for employees, because the goal is just productivity gains or whatever, dollar. Like wellness is tied to ROI. And it's you try with your communication to make it seem like it's for the employee. But I think your tone, employees are smart. They're onto you. They're onto the fact that, hey, it's great to get a Calm app, to get a meditation room. But when we have these you're not helping us be able to use these things, and we're not getting out of it what you wanted us to get out of it. You're just looking for a way to get more work and productivity out of us. It seems really insincere, and it seems like that all of that stuff is conditional, right? We're going to give you this and we want this in return. And it's even more of ourselves, even more of our time, even more of our, whatever it might be. And it's exhausting.
No, that loop that you kind of get stuck in, where
Yeah.
if you don't correct kind of what the problem is, then
Right.
you are driving me to needing something like a Calm app and then not having the time to use it, right? When if you
Yeah.
just repaired the thing that was the root, like the root
Mm-hmm.
cause of what is happening, then I may not need those supportive tools
Mm-hmm.
to manage myself or manage how I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling about the environment, right? And so, like, if you're letting Becky treat me like shit and
Right.
not do anything about Becky's behavior, sorry for any Beckys, who are named in this, right? Like, just called out a name. And so, if if Becky's not being managed at the appropriate level, right, to curb behavior, that would
Yeah.
drive me to needing some kind of meditation app to, kind of get to my Zen place to deal and manage with Becky. It
Right.
doesn't feel that that's the solution, is
Right.
to put me towards a solution that's going to help me manage my relationship with Becky myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why aren't we addressing Becky? What
Yeah.
Becky needs to go to the app too, right? Like, are you in, and there's no enforcement of the wellness, right? So
Oh,
it's
it's
just there
optional.
as
You
a
opt
it's
in or opt out.
optional.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
uh, so it does just feel like it, like, how helpful is, like, how is this meeting the ROI? Just having something available that's optional, that we're not
Yeah.
addressing anything.
Yes. Yeah. And I think like you make a good point too about like it's not mandatory. So like some people are going to take advantage, some people are not. Some people are going to feel like they don't have time or the ability to take advantage of it. And I
Yeah.
think like again, sorry, I feel like I'm going to be maybe a little too negative here, but maybe the mean part of me is thinking, well, maybe the point was to pit employees against each other. Because we know some people are going to have an
Ooh.
opportunity and they're going to feel, maybe, I don't know, empowered after using these resources or these benefits that we have. And other people, maybe the workaholics. And I kind of considered myself as like a workaholic whenever I was in my corporate job, because it was just like, I felt like I was always doing something. I was always busy. I was always taking on other people's work or helping other people with things. And so like the part of me, I see that like, well, wow, it must be nice to be able to take time off, or wow, it must be nice to be able to take advantage of these benefits that I don't have time or the ability to do. And, maybe the occasional, I do need to go to the doctor, or I have something going on with my family and I need to take leave, like some other emergency, like instead of trying to redistribute work, like, no, it's sitting in my email when I get back. Work is piling up when you're gone. And just, I don't know, it creates this like toxic culture where employees are kind of like duking it out with each other over like who gets to do what. And I don't know, I see that side of it too, because I know I was that person who was kind of like looking at somebody else who got things that I felt like, well, I should be able to do that too, but I just feel like I can't do it. It kind of made me angry. And like looking back, I'm like, you were angry at the wrong person. You were angry at the wrong thing. Like it was the system that like kept you unable to take advantage of those things,
Yeah. Yeah. Because in that environment, it was a balance of workload. What
Mm-hmm.
needed to be addressed that was not being addressed was a workload balance. And you could see the disparity
Yeah.
and call out the disparity. But
Mm-hmm.
then, like, it just made, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I have this feeling that if I were to say, so if I, like, were you in this scenario, right? Which I was, then when we called it out, it
Yeah.
made, did you get a sense that it made us look like tattletales or narcs, or that we
Mm-hmm.
were complaining, and that it
Yeah.
somehow gave this impression of, well, why do they get to do, like, it comes across as whiny, even though we
Yeah.
may not have stated it in a whiny way. It
Right.
kind of, I always was, again, back to like our reputation conversation, I was always concerned that by calling some of those things out, it would make me look like a whiny person, when I'm
Mm-hmm.
really just trying to call out the behavior and not my approach or style of saying it. But yet,
Yeah.
approach and style of how you say things is absolutely the communication skill that separates people,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
in terms of what lands and what gets heard. And so I was always like, I didn't want to call out like, well, why did they get to do that? Right. Like without it, like making it
Yes.
look like, but then why are you doing all this stuff? Right. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, because who keeps assigning it
Yeah.
to me?
Because I feel like the culture was set in a way where it was like everybody knew there was a problem. We all knew it, but you didn't call it out. You just looked the other way.
Because it was
Awful.
all just pointing fingers.
Yeah.
It created an
Yeah.
environment of blame.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not taking responsibility for that because that's so-and-so's and that's
Mm-hmm.
so-and-so's. And then
Yeah.
the blame, it just kept getting passed around like a hot potato.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to that point too, Amber, we've talked about this before. You brought up a really good point that like, hey, if you do bring up something, they're like, great, why don't you figure out a solution to address this? Like, we would love for you to lead that charge. The heck? Like,
right? Don't you want to, you should be on that committee that's like about making this stuff better.
It's like a no-win situation there, you know? Ugh.
You just got added to the mandatory fund committee, my friend. Yep. Because that's gonna
Amber, don't even get me started.
You've now just volunteered yourself, right?
Yeah.
Right, because that assumption being that, well, if you're the one that has the biggest problem with it, then you need to be part of the solution, right? So that your voice is heard. And that is not always the case.
No.
Just because you have the thought about it, maybe you are the only one who has the ability to articulate it. Because why would the person who gets to just hang out all day and not do work, why would they say anything?
Yeah, well, right.
Because they get the most ideal situation.
Of course.
So that doesn't make sense. It should actually go to the person who's not saying anything.
Yeah.
Because what are they? And I know that it's going to bring up a whole pot of stew that people don't want to, about picking on people, right? But
that's not what this is about, though.
People who are being picked on are the people who are talking. Like, this needs to be heard and seen. And so, again, I feel like that's just an easy win. Oh, well, they'll say something and they're not, they'll be a contributing member. We should just put all of these talkers together and then I get irate about group projects. So full circle, you're on a mandatory committee, Holly, and I'm on a group project, and there's just rage all around.
Massive rage. This is the worst day ever. Yeah. So, well, and I was thinking too, because Amber, like you and I, like I felt like you and I were pretty similar in this, where like we weren't complainers. We just like we just did the stuff, right? But I think you like, to kind of like your point earlier, like when I do get to a point where I'm like, I have to say something, I'm at my breaking point. You know what I mean? I'm saying this. But then like some people, they get to that breaking point and they're like, I at this point now, we're like, I might need FMLA. I might need extended leave. I might need like serious, like get away from this. I'm really unwell. And it's crazy to me, one, that we have a system where it's just kind of like we've normalized this, where it's just like you work until you are like a puddle of goo. There's nothing left of you. Like you're a shell of your former self. And then you need to start using these legal protections that you have to like become well again. It's just crazy to me that we're not addressing the real issue here. It's never about, going in and taking care of these things that have led to this point where I'm now broken, Ugh.
Yeah, no. And from a personal perspective, that was me. Yeah. Like I got broken and I took FMLA because of the amount of PTSD that started to accumulate from, it was a whole storm, right? Of my military PTSD plus things that were happening within our specific office, and then things that were happening as the larger organization that I no longer, I no longer felt safe, and I couldn't see like my way of kind of like building my own strength. And so I took FMLA and took my full time to try and get my peace back and figure out what it is. Like I had to separate from what I was experiencing because I could not process and balance. And I had to go to intensive counseling. So I entered into an intensive counseling program that required that time off to be able to go and really kind of work through what my PTSD symptoms were making me feel, and which was really kind of unsafe. I did not feel safe. And everything felt like an attack. And so I took FMLA, and when I came back, I came right back into the same kind of environment and fire. And that was part of the decision making to go, I cannot do this. I cannot take FMLA every year. So that way I can like balance myself to come and finish work for the rest of the time. And it is not necessarily like particular individuals. So let's just I'm talking, this is the people's faces get blurred in all of this. It just becomes the feeling, the larger sentiment that you have around the environment you're in. And you cannot pin it on, it's this person, I need to stop working with this. No, it's not individual based like that. It is just the larger, like it's the whole package of, because this thing is allowed to occur, well, then this thing. And then you hear all of the things about agencies and people getting in trouble for violating things that you're just like, wait, these are our leaders and they are violating all. No. The answer is no for me. And this crosses, these are crossing lines for my values. And if it has, like, I am not going to play, I'm not a person who blames. I did not realize that I had PTSD. I do not blame the organization. I really wish that there was more that could have been done, but I don't blame. I just go, okay, so here's the information, right? And so this is what's happening. I am not mad at anybody or any of you. This is the information that I needed to know, that because I have so many wonderful people that I know. Like, so on an individual level, people are trying. And I know that people are trying, and everybody is doing the very, very best that they can. And so it's just things that are outside of our control, or they're just not within our individual control, right? And so, like, you have to bring it down to the level of what you can individually control. And that was only myself. So I needed to remove myself from that environment. And so I don't have, like, sometimes I can feel angry about it, but I choose not to, because what is that going to do for me, right? Like, to just continuously look back and think like, you know, like it was just bad. And because it wasn't bad for a really long time, it wasn't bad, but it took that time. And then, but just to also have other experiences, because everybody does, and we have a life. And so, like, whatever your life experience is bringing you in that moment, that is coupled with, you know, the stuff that's happening within your work environment. And we spend a majority of our time at work. I just, I wanted more for myself. And I didn't want those to be the only things that I worked on, was my mental health. I wanted a variety of things to work on. Yeah. And so I'm good. I'm good now.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that. 'Cause I know, like, that getting to that point, I know there's a stigma around that. Like, just the same way there's a stigma around, like, taking your leave, you know. I think we even did a skit one time where we were like, oh, so-and-so is going on, taking some leave for their birthday. They're going to go on a little trip. And, you know, we were kind of like, what do you mean you're taking off on your birthday? I worked on all my birthday. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, those are like real life. Like, I've had that, people saying those things and going that route. And I'm like, that's what needs to change. Like, there needs to be more of an emphasis on addressing the culture at work, not just give me an app, you know. That's not enough. Like, they're like structural and systemic issues that we need real leaders who are going to go in there and say, like, we won't tolerate this or whatever it might be. Because it should be safe for you to go to work. You should feel safe. You should not feel like, you know, you are in this, like, state of, like, trying to protect yourself all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, always having to have your guard up. Like, we spend too much time at work. Like you said, that's exhausting. If you always have to have this mask on, if you always have to have your guard up all the time. No, that's sick. I can't go for that. And I do put a lot of responsibility on leaders. I always have, because I'm like, you know, you can't expect employees to kind of lead the charge in these things. Like, we need true leaders who are going to go in, get in the mud with the rest of us and help us figure this stuff out. Not these people on their high horse way up here saying, here's an app. We're going to give you a meditation room with a plant. Like, can't have it. It makes me a little angry. I'm a little angry today. Sorry.
No apologies, friend. None. Because, I mean, I have my days where I feel angry about it, right? But I am working on that, right? Like, part of what I'm working on is my anger. So now I have other tools that I use where I'm just like, well, what does being angry about it, like, serve for me? And sometimes it serves me in a way to be able to just let that emotion out and let it go off and live its own life somewhere else and not stay inside me. And so there is value in being angry and getting that out. Just be like, I just have to rage. Yeah. I have to rage about this because I cannot keep it inside any longer.
Yeah.
I'm at that point, right, where this is just, it is hurting me to keep it
Yeah.
inside. So I have to rage about it. And I am working on not getting to the rage stage, right? And
Yeah.
just instead, just like, yep, that's not going to work for me. Like, what can I
Yeah.
do instead?
Mm-hmm.
And what's more constructive for me? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to go, listen to this, or I'm going to have a dance party by myself and just put on
Yeah.
music that makes
I
me
love
feel like
that.
happy and good.
Mm-hmm.
And so do all those kind of fake it till you make it actions and motions, right? Smile when you don't want to smile.
Did a lot of faking at work. A lot of
So
faking.
much, so much,
So much
so much
faking.
faking that it almost became who I was.
Oh,
Like
really? Like,
like
I always knew. I was always like, at the end of the day, like, oh, great. Glad I don't have to fake it anymore. Like, I can just be like me. But like, it was a lot of work. Like, there's no way I could sustain that forever. No way.
so
But I
hard.
can see what you mean, though, too, where like, yeah, you become that, that persona that you created, like that becomes you. Like, because you maintain it for so long that you're like, well, that's kind of like a part of me now. I don't know. Yeah, I could see
Yes,
that.
because that persona like has its own way of thinking and dealing with
Mm-mm.
stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how I know it's like I don't have multiple or dissociative.
Yeah.
What the new name for it?
I
Multiple
don't,
personality.
yeah, sorry,
It's not
that's still
multiple
the,
personality
I
anymore, but
know,
it's like dissociative something. Anyway, it
disorder or
doesn't matter.
something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have that, but
Mm-hmm.
it made me think that I could have had that at work.
Yeah. I mean, I
because
could, what is it like when, because like I do that thing where I like talk to myself, like there would be
Mhm.
like the work persona of my brain and then the real me. And we would have conversations sometimes. We would be like work through something like,
Yes.
like to your, Becky did this thing. And it's like the work part of me is like, well, like you got to consider blah, blah, blah. And this one over here is just like, like
I think a lot of mine was like demeanor, physical,
yeah.
how I like, because we were in a virtual environment. So everything was, across a camera like this. So knowing before I had to like log into a call, right. It's like doing a lot of like this and then like stretching my face out. Like, and so kind of getting it all going, because I would
Yes.
have, this is how I am. Like
Yeah.
working, right? It's like in a perpetual, like, what did that
Scowl.
email say?
Yeah.
Yes, perpetual scowl. And you don't want to attend a call because I'm giving you an outward face of what it feels like I am on the inside, right? I'm sure I just sat here just looking bored. That's what my probable natural state is. But when I would get onto a call, right, it would be as soon as the camera come on, it would go from, hi, like, and so just this like,
yes.
How are you? Like, I don't really care, but I'm asking so that way I can do the nice thing. And because I really just need what work are you going to give me? Can you just tell me what it is that you need me to do?
Yeah.
That's like, did this really need to be a call? But you're just going to give me work. So just give me the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Cut to the chase.
Stop playing the game. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I just like, I'm like, just give me the work troll face. And then I have to like, turn it on into this person who is pleasant and it's not that I'm not pleasant, right? I just maybe not as my what I like to call my cave troll, right? Like I really love being my cave troll version, which is just kind of like leave me alone and let me work.
Yeah. Right. I mean, because like you said, like, no, you're very like charming and happy individual, Amber, but you're right. Like there's something to be said when you are in an environment for so long and those things that like you are naturally kind of start like, we've beat that down so much that now you're just like, oh, just give me the stuff. Just do me like cut to the chase. Like there's something to be said for that it did that,
But that desire to want people to just get to the end and give me the work, right? Just give me the task to do.
Yeah.
That was the biggest clue that I was done.
Yeah.
Because being able to hear people's stories about the context around the importance of the work or like how this work was going to, I used to love that.
Oh, me too.
I used to love the purpose.
Yeah,
and
me too.
When my desire for wanting to know the purpose went away, that was the biggest clue for me, is that when I started to identify more with my cave troll rather than my cave troll just being an aspect of myself, and I wanted to just be the cave troll at work, these are all those signs that were pointing me to I'm actually more balanced as a person. and I
Yeah.
feel completely out of balance. And this
Yeah.
desire that I have to be more cave troll and just be like, just drop it at the
Yeah.
door, right? And I'll
Yes.
get it done. And you can
Right.
trust, right? I got
Right.
my little sign out the door,
Yeah.
100% guaranteed, work, and just drop it and you'll get what you need, right?
Yeah.
And so the beauty of kind of what makes our work valuable and that we are doing work of purpose and not just task and
Yeah.
right are our stories and our purpose and
Mhm.
our why we're here and why we enjoy what we do. And
Yeah.
removing that was part of what I was removing from myself.
Yeah.
That's my authenticity right there, right? And
Yeah,
so
right.
I start cutting out the parts that I actually really like about myself and started
Yeah.
leaning into the parts that I don't or that I
Yeah.
have to be under times of duress, and that becomes my
Right.
persona.
Yes. Good
That's
point.
the problem.
But we were talking about stories. Like, what kind of story time do we have today? I'm so excited.
Ooh,
So excited.
yeah.
Is it a listener
Okay,
submitted?
it is a listener submitted story. Ooh, but it's a little rough. So just letting you know,
This
it
is a rough episode.
might put us into our right. We're gonna need some wellness after our podcast today, right? We have to go drink some. Well, I've already got my tea, right? But we're gonna have to go do some, soothing chamomile.
Yes.
Have you seen that video of the guy who's reading the tea boxes in his friend's house, and he calls it, "What's this chamomile?"
Oh my God. I've heard people call it chamomile too. So like I've heard all sorts of stuff.
Okay, so nice little chuckle before our story. Okay, so
Yes.
I once worked at a place where the pace of work was relentless.
Yeah.
Big project following big project or projects that seemed to never go away. Everything always felt like an emergency with a rushed deadline. It was exhausting, and the culture supported the behavior with recognition and awards. I was working at night to catch up and read an email about our office's new wellness program. The language was genuine and enthusiastic about all the resources we have available to take care of ourselves. It left me a sense of relief that they do recognize we're working hard. And if they're going to have the conversation about our well-being, I can't wait to see what's coming next. Where I messed up was thinking that this email and resource connection was really about caring. It was a checkbox that needed to be checked. Nothing, absolutely nothing changed about the environment, the pace, the workload, and add to that, to put work towards these resources, I would have needed the time and energy, two commodities I didn't have to spare. I felt tricked into their campaign to believe they're concerned for us. If so, then feedback would have been sought and used to deliver real change. I've learned bottom lines and results will always lead decisions. I have become suspect of every wellness program and don't believe in them anymore.
That makes me so sad. Like somebody, like I just see this bright-eyed, like, so excited, wants to be positive about something and just they got kicked. It feels really sad. Yeah.
Yeah. But just
really.
I could imagine they're reading their emails late and just the hopefulness. Like I was with them on that, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
They do see me. They do care. They do value, right? How much they're.
Oh, God. Okay. So this is, we haven't talked about this yet, but hearing that person, kind of describe it as being I'm suspect now going forward. I think more people need to unionize and move away from asking for benefits, asking for what they need, like humane and empathetic treatment, and start negotiating for better workplace settings and things like that. We've talked about already, these wellness programs are, they always advertise it as here's a benefit, here's a perk for you, right? But it's optional too. So, employees, they actually need something that's going to be enforceable, like minimum staffing levels, stuff like that, workload limits or guaranteed leave too. Don't give me this unlimited PTO stuff. Don't even get me started on that. You shouldn't need to be brave to take advantage of a sick day or something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like this person, get with your friends, start organizing and unionize. God, it just feels like enough already. Enough.
Or in our environment, and I don't know if you used it, but in our environment that we came from, they had put out this pilot program, right? That was this wellness program, right?
Yes, I remember.
So many people opted into using it. And what this program allowed was that in 3 of these different categories, you got to take a set time amount off of work during, this your time period, your reporting pay period, right?
Yes.
And then you got to go to an exercise class, work out, take this extra time to focus on your well-being and your wellness. And then after the pilot, they got rid of it. No information why. I mean, I've of course made up all the reasons why it went away, and it was because it was actually a benefit that people were utilizing, and too many people were away from work. That's going to be my guess.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And that is because to this person's point in the story is that the bottom line about what they need to accomplish will always come first.
Oh, yes, right. Like, what's the benefit to the company? And if that is like, if it's not there anymore, or if we're not getting the productivity gains that we thought we were going to get, or whatever it might be, right? I don't know, whatever the ROI is, like, they're like, oh, hey, that didn't make us as much money as we thought we would make that to, like, it's gotta go.
Right. But then they had set all these rules around it. You can't take it during this time, and then this time, rules. And then right. And so it just made it so hard to like even note that you wanted, like you had to get pre-approved or not approval, but notification. You had to notify that you were going to be taking it, kind of like at this time, this was what you were going to be doing. You had to specify exactly
what you did. Yeah.
Yeah. You had to report what you did. I mean, so okay, so for all of the folks that opted in to do all of that, right, and went through all the hoops to be able to get that benefit, and then without any emails, language, just it's gone. You can't use it anymore. No explanation, nothing. Just, yep, didn't work. Pilot didn't work. What didn't work?
Yeah. And don't give me the pilot didn't work. No, it was oh man, this is like we're too many nice things for employees. We can't have that. No, this is right? You're supposed to come here, work yourself, work your fingers to the bone or whatever the saying is, and then like if you're not a shell of yourself by the time you leave at the end of the day, like oh man, we didn't work you hard enough.
Right. If you don't leave employment needing and going into retirement with some kind of autoimmune disorder or some kind of arthritic inflammation condition, you didn't work hard enough. Right. Yeah.
Tell me
why is that people are leaving and early retiring because they're sick.
Right.
And yes, some of the conditions, right, had nothing to do with work, right? It's just,
well, maybe,
aging.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Right?
I'm still not entirely convinced that that's always the case. I think your environment has a lot to do with your health overall and sort of what you're putting yourself into. So I don't know, chronic stress, has there been enough research that can definitively say that it's not leading to some of these advanced other conditions? I'm not convinced. I would need to see the research paper on that. But I'm also I'm with you. I still remember TV shows and things growing up where people were like, oh, well, so that was so, I can't remember the exact TV show, but I remember they were going to a funeral and somebody casually mentioned, oh, well, it was so nice that they got to work right up to the end. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Work right up to the end. Can you even imagine? It's awful. That should not be we should not be normalizing that. That's insane. Right. That's complete insanity to me. Ugh. Right. Sorry. Right. I'm not going to get on my thing. I'm going to take a second and breathe. Maybe I need a breather here. And Amber, maybe with your coach's cap on, can you give us a little insight here?
Okay. So while you were taking your deep breaths, let's do a visualization activity. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So take a second and think about what you've normalized at work that you would never accept anywhere else in your life. So the pace, the pressure, the feeling of never being enough, no matter how much you give. Right?
All the above.
Right?
Yeah.
So put yourself in that, right? Visualization. So now imagine a close friend described their job exactly the way that you would describe yours. What would you tell them to do?
I'm going to be honest. Of course, I'm always kinder to other people than I am to myself. I'm very hard on myself. And I think it's because we all have, I don't know, I have very high expectations for myself. So sometimes unrealistic expectations for myself. And so, it's a lot easier for me to be kind to others than it is for me to be kind to myself. That's very hard.
Well, whatever, those of you who are listening, whatever you came up with as your answer for your friend, that's the answer for you too.
Yeah. Yes.
I know today was hard.
This one was kind of, and you hear like wellness in the title and you're like, oh, like it's going to be
I'm gonna
like
feel
something
so
good.
much better. Yeah. I'm going to feel good at the end.
Not at all. Brought up a lot of bad emotions.
I'm gonna need a sick day after this. I'm gonna have to go on I'm gonna have to take a mental health day. Check it out.
Yeah. Oh my God. Is it those? I can't remember where I saw it. I think it was at like a university or something. They have those rage booths where you can go in and you just like screaming booths or something like that, where you go in there and you just scream. I'm like, yeah.
Or they have those, what is it? Rage rooms, smash rooms, where they have.
I've never heard of this. What's a smash room? What?
Oh, girl. Yes. They've got, you go into like this booth type. Well, it's more than a booth. It's like a room, right? And they have set it up to where they have different things in that room that can be broken. So you go in, you smash plates, and sometimes they'll give, like, sometimes the rooms will have like a mallet or a sledgehammer or something. And you can just like,
brilliant.
They have things that are on the wall that you can like hit on the wall, and that you can just like, they're called rage rooms. I've seen one where they have like paint balls that you can throw and watch them splatter all over the wall. And so you can just keep adding to the, right? So so if you need a rage room, go check out a rage room. Or if you need something that's a little bit more on the like healing side, I know I've heard, I've not done them yet. I'm very intrigued to try one of those float.
Yes, I've done that.
Yeah. What is it like?
The deprivation tanks or whatever.
Deprivation tanks. Yes.
I have done that. I did that once. I really enjoyed it. I did it for an hour, and I've got to say, you need a minimum of an hour. If you are someone who can't turn your brain off, if it takes you a while to like quiet yourself, you're going to need the full hour. Because I think it came in half hour and hour sessions. I'm glad I did the hour, because it probably took me a half hour just to get to a point where it was just like blank, right? My brain was just blank, and I could just like float in the moment. It was fantastic though. I loved it. I haven't done it since, but I do recommend it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the reason why I haven't jumped into, I'm a little hesitant because I have mild claustrophobia. And so because you are in a, like, I heard that there's like a lid that closes on you.
For me, it was a door, and like you step down into it. So it was kind of like a bigger room. It wasn't a tank per se.
Okay. Because I've heard that sometimes they're like egg shaped.
I think that they can be. Yeah.
You're kind of like in an egg timer.
Yeah, I think that they are kind of like that. It almost is like a not supernatural, but almost like a sci-fi type design. Yeah. So I have heard of those. Mine was not like that. So, but I could see that because you can get more of them, so you can like increase production. So got it. Yeah, okay. Mine was a very small studio. Yeah.
I just don't like, I mean, just the thought of like, tanning beds, so like where you're stuck. Right? Like,
and if you're a millennial and you saw Final Destination, you'll never go into a tanning bed ever again.
Or drive behind a logging truck.
Never. Oh my God. Like, we are scarred for life. That will never happen. No, I'm never doing it. Yeah.
Something I've heard is new that I really want to try, though, related to wellness, is I think they're called head spas. And
wait, is this where they wash your hair too?
Yes. And they've got those like,
I want to do that so bad, because they like brush your hair, and I'm like, oh, that seems so nice.
And I watched a video, and they've got like the rooms are darker, so you've got like the fun colored lights, kind of like what you've got in your office there, and then they've got those. I don't know. It kind of looked like a crescent moon shaped like wand of
where it goes like over, kind of like a water park like thing where you used to like swim under it.
Yes,
and that's all the water.
And so like what is the word I'm trying to think of? What is nozzle? Oh, I was like, there's a word, like a faucet nozzle, right? Like that it is in this shape that kind of like comes over your, and then they do like a head. Divine.
Oh, divine.
I get like the chills down my back, like when people like touch my scalp, like in right?
Yes,
like that really cool metal head massager thing, right? It looks like ooh. Okay, so it's got a handle, and then it's got what looks like a disconnected whisk right? Like, so,
I do know
a
that.
whisk
Okay.
kind of comes around, right? And makes a loop. These don't, they just kind of stop in the center.
Yeah.
And then when they expand by kind of touching your head, they kind of come all the way out, right? Like, in a good way, right? Like, these are good chills. And so,
man, glorious.
Yes. Okay. So, dear listeners, if you have other wellness things that we should check out or that you just want to share, let us know in the comments on this video. Or you can also share in our break room that we've got set up on our Reddit channel. And so what we're doing is we're asking questions, posting memes that are related to our episode to increase our engagement, really, because we love talking about this together. But it's just Holly and I, meaning that we have our thoughts, but we know that you've got yours too.
Yeah.
And so we want to know what you're thinking about in terms of topics, in terms of our episodes. Like, if we say something and you're just like, you wrong, tell us, because we actually that's the growth and learning that we love to explore. And so we are definitely in our own little podcast vacuum here, but we are opening it up. So bring what you kind of think about it as well. So we also are on Instagram, where we kind of let you know about what's coming up and new for us. We've got a TikTok, and then that we're posting these new episodes on Wednesdays, but on Fridays we have a clip that we kind of give you a behind the scenes of outtakes or things that maybe didn't make an episode. And so check out those clips that we're posting every Friday. And because we funny ladies for sure. And so also subscribe, because we are a very small podcast who are trying to get growth and get engagement. And we would really love your help and support as we want to continue to do this for you. And we're going to be here for a while, but just saying, we would love to know that we're helping you like this podcast is helping us. And so please subscribe and tell your friends that we're amazing, and your family that we are helpful and giving you different ways to think about things. And so thank you for being here with us. We are Sanity Pending Podcast. I am Amber, and this is Holly. And remember, if you've not throat punched somebody this week, it's been a great week. Bye.